Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Tonight, my guests are Lance Schuttler and Noah Olson. Lance is the CEO and owner of EMF Harmonized, an electromagnetic field protection technology company that is dedicated to helping improve people's lives. He's also co-founder of Ascent Nutrition, a unique holistic nutrition company, and he is facilitator and collaborator of big ideas, visions, and projects that spark creative and healing solutions to complex challenges in our world. Noah Olson was studying at the University of Iowa for enterprise leadership before dropping out to start his journey of becoming an entrepreneur. Having understood the power of the internet at a young age, he learned to make way for what would become Ascent Nutrition. He is passionate about using a holistic approach to medicine, diet, and wellness, as well as exercise for overall peak performance. Noah and Lance, welcome. How are y'all tonight?
Great, Chris. Good to be here.
Yeah, also doing well, Chris. Thanks for having us.
Definitely. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you guys for joining us. Lance, always a pleasure talking with you. And Noah, this is your first time on, so welcome. I know for myself, I am really grateful that I started to take control of my health for the past couple of years, with the help of your products and some other things that I've been doing. But I've been taking your nootropic focus and peak liver support for a few months, and I really feel amazing. That nootropic focus, I mean, I'm all over the place and my laser sharp focus. I've been able to be super productive with that. It's nuts. But Noah, this is your first time on. I'd love to hear about how you got started working with Lance and Ascent Nutrition.
Yeah. So it goes back to a little organic food store that we both used to work at. I met him. I realized we both clicked. We knew the same stuff, and so we became really good friends. And really, how our business came to be, I was standing in his kitchen holding our pine pollen product, and I just said we should be selling this to people. And it sounded so obvious, but it really clicked. And so 2 weeks later, we bought the LLC, and here we are. So that's really where things have come.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Lance, give us a little reminder about, how you got started with, Ascent Nutrition and working with these health products, because, a lot of people don't realize how we're being poisoned pretty much from all angles every day.
Yeah, definitely. So, back probably 10 years or so ago, I really started to delve deep into health and wellness and, the way things work in our world and how all these industries are kind of tied together in certain ways. And my focus at the time, and definitely my biggest passion in relation to health, is the brain and cognition and neurogenesis, really creating new neurons in the brain and creating just a healthier, happier mind. It's all a work in progress for every one of us, myself included. And, that's just really what my big focus has been. But, going back with how Noah and I met, we met in that health food store, and we met right by the brain health supplements. And so I think I know it was a divine connection. And, we met right there. And this is kind of like the nootropics and the brain health stuff, I think is, one of the things that we really click on, and one of the things that really bridged us together in terms of, wow, we both really are into optimizing the mind and the brain and just, really pushing forward and pushing the envelope. I know what you were saying with that nootropic focus, and we're really happy with that product because it definitely has a lot of very good nutrients in there and things that people can actually feel. So you saying that you can feel it, it's awesome, and it's not surprising at the same time.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Now, like I was saying earlier, most people don't realize how many toxic substances surround us every day, go into our food and water and everything like that. And I'm so glad that recently, the past couple of years, I started taking better care of myself, taking your products, and just noticing a major difference of what I'm putting in my body. And I think that's probably the key to optimal health is, not putting crap in your body and supplementing with some things like you offer. And I was looking at your website earlier, and one of the things I really love about your site is when you're going through the categories, you have things like energy, metabolism, and then you have intuition and consciousness. And that's something that people in this community can, really get behind. And, it gets me excited to see that you have categories like that,
Yeah, absolutely. We put that together, that intuition and consciousness bundle for one of our affiliates who's really promoting our products really well. And I think Noah had the idea, and I mean, Noah, you can talk about that a little bit more, but it relates to the gut and how taking care of the gut physically can help us in these deeper intuitive or more spiritual ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually just reading today, talking about the chakras, and the gut is our second brain. So that the bundle itself, I mean, it's got 3 different products, the Peak Gut Health to really nurture that gut, because that's where a lot of our neurotransmitters actually exist. So our brain talks to our gut, but our gut has the ability to really think on its own. And so that's what that was a goal behind adding the Peak Gut Health. The Peak Liver Support, of course, the liver is regarded as sacred in so many cultures, just for how nutrient dense it is and its role in the body. And lastly, the nootropic focus, of course, which is important because of some of the ingredients in there, which we'll get into.
Yeah, well, let's talk about some of those ingredients since we started with the consciousness little section there. Let's start with some of the ingredients in those products.
Cool. I'm going to pull it up here on the screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the nootropic focus, really the main ingredient in this product is a standardized extract of St. John's wort. And so St. John's wort has a very specific ingredient called hypericine. And hypericine it does a lot of really great things in the brain, but it's been shown actually in research where people were basically shown like kind of horrific or like nasty images, and people who had taken the St. John's wort had a better reaction. Like they had a better emotional response to those images. So it kind of shows how it helps our brain to think more positively, which I think is really important in this time.
Yeah. So going on with what Noah said, it essentially helps us to focus more on the positive. I think that's something that all of us or most of us can always, work on. I know that I can. And, I take this product almost every day, and I really like St. John's wort. I've used it on and off for, different periods of time, and really helps. I've gotten a lot of feedback from people that I've suggested it to over the past several years, and people really do feel this one.
Yeah, I've really felt the focus. I get started on a project. Usually I have to take 3 or 4 breaks and I lose my concentration, after the first few minutes. But now it's like I can power through stuff like I've never been able to before. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that resilience. It's going back to the spiritual aspect, the intuition and the consciousness aspect of it. Back in ancient Greece, people would hang the St. John's wort outside their doors to ward off negative spirits, entities. They believed that it was a flower of light of God, essentially.
Yeah, that's really cool. So what other products and ingredients can we look at in this consciousness section?
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the big ones is ginkgo biloba. So this is a traditional Chinese medicine herb. It's been used for thousands of years to support memory it increases blood flow in the brain. So with that, you're going to get a lot of good downstream effects, but mostly it's been used for memory. Lance, anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, the acetyl L-carnitine, that that people use in a lot of different ways. So people will use it for like healthy nerve support. Like if people are feeling some tingling in the nerves for various reasons, the acetyl L-carnitine can help. Really helps to utilize energy within the cells and fuel the mitochondria with those fatty acids. And it's like it's a direct shuttle of energy that the cells can use. It shuttles energy into the cells. And then, you look at that and you combine it with huperzine A, which is a derivative or an extract of Chinese club moss. And that helps to prevent the breakdown of acetylcholine by way of an enzyme called acetylcholinesterase. And what that means essentially is that more acetylcholine is present for the whole nervous system to use. And the brain especially needs to use acetylcholine because it's like the learning neurotransmitter, and it helps us focus and accomplish tasks and get things done and stay on task.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Now, another section that I'd like to kind of talk a little bit about is products for energy, which I also could use as well.
Absolutely. Let's, well, I think we should probably go into the coffee, don't you think?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about energy, right? Yeah. So this is our coffee. This is really our flagship product right now. It's the cleanest coffee you can buy. So it's not only organically grown, but it's tested for molds and mycotoxins, which a lot of people might not be familiar, but unfortunately, a lot of the coffee you buy at the stores, big names, I'm not going to mention, a lot of them are filled with pesticides and molds. So molds are known kryptonite to humans. There's so many different symptoms, a lot of sinus issues, joint pain even. It really, the whole list is quite thorough, but so we get our coffee tested for those molds to make sure that it's the cleanest coffee.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So like Noah was saying with the pesticides, like coffee is one of the most, if not the most sprayed bean in the world or crop in the world. Certainly corn and soybeans are right up there. But that becomes a huge issue, and it's not something that you can really just wash off. Of course, washing them can help a little bit, but the issue runs much deeper than that. And so we really want to focus on not only the organic, but the mold and mycotoxin free. The organic, it's such a huge issue for our world, Chris. We've talked about this on the previous few episodes we've done, and shifting towards regenerative organic agriculture is something that we have to do. Like, it's no longer an option. Like, we have to start doing this, and it is happening. That's the good news. It is happening, and the awareness is growing for sure. But we see this as a product that we can really help play a role in shifting that awareness, because, coffee is the second most consumed drink. And, if we're talking about not only organic, but mold and mycotoxin free, then we start to wake up a lot of people to issues that are very, very important. So, if someone is drinking coffee, at minimum, you want it to be organic. Ideally, you want it to be organic and mold and mycotoxin free. And we check both those boxes. And so we're actually, we've sought this sort of cleanliness out so that we could make the claims of literally having the cleanest coffee in the world. We want to be able to authentically say that, and we do say it because it's true.
And to add on to that too, I'll just say the question we ask people is, do you want mold in your coffee? And that's the thing, right? Like, would you want to drink coffee knowing that it's just bad for you? And I'll say this too, the coffee kind of crash that people experience, the coffee hangover, whatever you want to call it, it's actually due to the mold. It's there's certain molds that actually affect the brain to where it lowers dopamine over time. So you literally feel like you just cannot find the motivation to get things done. So this is why we sought out this coffee.
That's great. And you mentioned, Lance, how you're kind of seeing how mainstream is coming around more to this, these organic products. I hope that's true. And I hope that the medical industry in general can be, I guess, just the whole thing. It's really disgusting to me at this point. I think the whole thing needs to be revamped, because you go to the doctor now and the medications and the pharmaceuticals and everything that you're taking is going to get you more sick than most likely anything you're initially going to the doctor's office for, unless you have like a broken leg or broken arm. I found that in a lot of the research I've been doing, a lot of the guests that I've had on recently in the medical fields, it's quite terrifying what they're doing in this medical industry. And I really hope more people are seeing some of those things that are going on as well,
For sure. I share your concerns 100%. And I think that I believe strongly that the awareness is growing. And I also think that there's certain things that are coming that are going to really expose the medical industry for all of the fallacies that they've been promoting for a very long time. And they're really doing it to themselves, and they don't really know it. And I'm saying more of the malicious sort of actors within the space. Your regular doctor has no clue that they don't know what they're doing. And I'm saying that it's not that they've been trained to be idiots. They're not. They're clearly, very often intelligent people, but they've been taught a system that is opposite of what we should be really doing. So, the re-education is going to take a long time for sure, but the exposure and the awareness, I think, is growing exponentially, and it's going to come to a point where certain things are going to happen where people are just going to see en masse, wow, we have been duped, and why do I want to listen to this person when, even though they might not be intentionally trying to hurt me, they've been teaching and advocating a system that is trying to hurt me.
And if we could just focus on more of this, preemptive health and eating right and treating our bodies right, that would be a better focus than, fixing it with Band-Aid fixes and pharmaceuticals and things like that. Now, another section that you have on your website I want to talk about is for healthy metabolism. Let's talk about some of the things that can give us healthier metabolism.
Absolutely. So we talked about the peak liver support a little bit, but going into that, the liver is really responsible for so much in our body. It is responsible for a lot of our metabolism, also our detoxification. The liver is, this is where a lot of the stuff that we're just talking about, the pollutants, everything that's in our water, soil, all that, it has to get filtered by our liver. And so taking a liver support product is very helpful in taking a lot of the stress off your body. There's some very, very interesting compounds in our products. The first one I'll mention is it's called Solarplast. So this comes from spinach. They extract the chloroplast from spinach, and this has a lot of amazing things in it. So it's able to regrow the detoxification pathways. So for someone who, say, has been drinking for a long time or just eating a lot of processed foods, they don't even have the ability really anymore for their body to create a lot of its own natural antioxidants. So this product really helps to repair that and to help the detoxification pathway. It's also loaded in something called biophotons, which, Lance, a lot about this, man. Go at it.
Yeah. So the biophotons, like Noah was saying, the light is captured by these chloroplasts within the spinach leaves. Just the regular photosynthesis process. But really, if you really think about this, and not in like your basic boring high school biology class sort of way, but really look at it from a deeper level, it is like beautiful and incredible in so many different ways, because what's happening is a photon from the sun that's coming down to this earth is captured by these chloroplasts in these plants, And that energy, I mean, you can see the photon in some ways, but what I'm saying is more so just the energetic aspect of that photon is captured and then literally transformed into a physical chemical substance, life. And this process is happening all the time. And so what happens is we're able to take in those biophotons, that light energy, and our physiology loves this. And we can use this in a lot of different ways. It helps us with brain and cognition. Like, they know that the brain is a massive conductor of biophotonic energy. And, you know, we need light in the body. And this is a way to help make that happen. You know, specifically, it helps to induce the production of alpha brain waves. We've talked about this, I think, last time. That helps us like focus and stay clear, stay in that alert state of mind, and really help us to accomplish things and get things done. But, you know, going back to this photonic process, it literally is alchemy happening within the plants and just within like these life processes themselves. It's alchemy. It's taking energy and transforming it into something, into a different state of energy, which is a chemical state. So very interesting stuff. Like, you can, I mean, we could talk about that for a long time in a lot of different ways. And definitely more, there's so much more that I don't know about this topic. But it's really interesting stuff.
Yeah, the whole light nutrient is very fascinating to me. I know even sunlight holds a lot more nutrients for us than we realize, and could be a lot better for us in certain ways.
Yeah, for sure. Just sunbathing and sun gazing.
Absolutely.
Taking in those photons through the eyes and through the skin. I mean, you know,
It's human photosynthesis.
Yeah, exactly. We all know, like, up to a certain point, if you're basking in the sun, I mean, most people are going to feel energized from that or feel better from it, you know? And if you're doing that consistently over time, you know, you're most likely going to have better overall health and a better state of mind as well.
That's cool. Now, anything else we should mention before we move on to a different topic here?
Just to round it out, it's got a few other pretty cool ingredients. Milk thistle seed. This is also really great for the brain, but it does help support healthy metabolism. It increases something in the brain called BDNF, which is a protein that basically, I look at it as like nature's reward for doing things that are good for you, that are right and good for you. So when this happens, your brain is able to form new synapses essentially from source. It's a beautiful process. And so milk thistle seed, artichoke, also great for the brain. Dandelion, which increases that natural antioxidant we talked about earlier. It increases that as well. And then enzymes that just help the liver. So that's
awesome. Now, you guys also have some products for inflammation as well. Why don't we talk about a couple of those?
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to say one more thing about the milk.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And I didn't even really know this until someone that Noah and I both knew had told me this. I don't know if this person told Noah, but the milk thistle really helps some women during their menstrual cycles, both short term and long term, and more so long term, in terms of, you know, the pain levels can come down, just the blood viscosity is better, just a better overall experience with the moon cycle. That milk thistle seed, it's pretty incredible stuff, and we have that 50% silymarin extract, and so it's a very potent milk thistle.
Very cool. Awesome. All right, well, let's take a look at some things for inflammation.
Absolutely. So this is one of our best-selling products. It's the mushroom product. So a lot of people are familiar with like maybe like white button mushrooms, shiitake. These are a little different. So these are a class of mushrooms known as medicinal mushrooms, and they've been used for thousands of years in ancient Chinese medicine. So we're talking about lion's mane mushroom, chaga mushroom, maitake, shiitake, and reishi. People might be familiar with lion's mane. It's really became popular more recently for inflammation, but especially in the brain. So it's got some incredible compounds in it that, going back to that BDNF, it also triggers that. So it increases BDNF and NGF to literally help your brain create new brain cells and form new synapses, new thought patterns, new memories. So I don't know, Chris, are you familiar with lion's mane? Have you heard of this one?
I've heard of it, but I haven't tried it or anything.
Yeah. It's incredibly powerful for memory. It's great for the immune system as well. It's kind of looked at as like an immune shot almost. Like it's that potent, it's that powerful. So it's really great for a lot of things. Lance, anything else?
Yeah, the lion's mane used to be allegedly reserved only for royalty within the ancient Chinese and Asian dynasties because of all the reasons Noah said. It really helps the mind and the brain to sharpen and stay sharp. The monks there would also use it before meditation and just, as part of their lifestyle. But it's an incredibly tasty mushroom too. It tastes kind of like seafood, and you can use it in a lot of different ways. And yeah, it's just a mushroom that's exploded in popularity, and really thanks to a lot of different reasons, but primarily Paul Stamets was, a very good person who's doing a lot of good work with mushrooms and mycology and helping to save the bees and all sorts of things. He and Joe Rogan did a few podcasts that really kind of just blew lion's mane into the stratosphere in a really good way.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
Noah?
There's another mushroom. I mean, it just keeps going. The chaga is incredible. So it contains one of the highest ORAC scores. So it's incredibly loaded in antioxidants. And I've learned a lot about chaga recently. So it's actually got natural source of melanin. And when we consume this, the melanin acts kind of like a light reflector. It helps pull in more light. So the melanin literally increases ATP on a cellular level by, like, the biophotons bringing in more light and allowing more energy to flow. Also, it is incredibly useful for boosting those natural antioxidants that we were talking about earlier. It's great for performance. There's actually a study that showed how, this is a rat study, but it definitely applies on humans. There was 2 different rats, and they had a swimming test, and the one that took the chaga actually finished faster. So, I mean, it's incredible. It's great for the brain, athletic performance, also the immune system for reasons that we talked about.
That's all. I have to try some of those mushroom supplements.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And the chaga, so with that SOD, researchers have looked at basically all biological life, but specifically animal life on the planet. And they're able to really accurately depict how the higher levels that an organism has of SOD, the longer their lifespan is. Okay, so like turtles, for example, they'll live, certain species, they'll live, up to a couple hundred years, and their SOD levels are through the roof. Part of it is because they're eating algae, certain strains of algae. But the other part is they're just able to, their bodies are able to utilize it in beneficial ways. So basically, the longer that we are able to, or the more SOD that we can consume or hold on to, the better for us as well. They've looked at birds as well with SOD, and bird levels of SOD are very, very low, which is part of the reason why they have shorter lifespan. So, it's not the one and only factor of lifespan, but it definitely plays a major role.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to try that. What else can we talk about here before we move on to EMF harmonized and how we can protect ourselves from some electromagnetic frequencies?
Absolutely. Lance, I was just going to ask, do you want to hit on the maitake? I know kind
Yeah.
of, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot that I wish that we could really talk about with Maitake in relation to certain health concepts.
Mm,
But one can look up the SX fraction or diffraction compounds, and you can find some very interesting stuff relating to that. But maitake is very good for helping to support healthy blood sugar levels, and people who really want to look at that and like a healthy insulin levels. Maitake is really incredible for that, and there is an abundance of very sound science backing it. Um, yeah, it's a wonderful mushroom. Anything else you want to add to that, Noah?
I was just going to kind of talk about the reishi.
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, okay, so I'll start. Reishi is excellent for the immune system. It's also great for relaxation. So that's what most people would take like a straight reishi extract for. It's great for meditation, just relaxing in general. But now this is going to get a little deep, but stick with me. So it's our body is constantly undergoing a cellular renewal process where it's killing off old cells and new cells are being created. Reishi helps with something called apoptosis, which apoptosis is that process where our body kills off essentially zombie cells that are still on our body. So it helps our body cleanse itself of malfunctioning cells. It's incredible.
Guys, go check out Ascent Nutrition. I have all the links in the description. All you have to do is click that, and you can take control of your health today with some of these amazing products. Trust me, you won't regret any of it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about EMF Harmonize now, guys. I've been using your strips on my computers, my tablets, all my devices, and the grogginess level is way down. I have much more energy during the day because I'm spending hours in front of this computer a day, and I try to take breaks, but I've really noticed a difference. I can sleep better at night. I'm not as groggy. I have more energy. These strips are amazing. Now, at what point do you think actual human biology is affected by Wi-Fi and some of these electronics that we're surrounded by?
Well, I guess what do you mean at what point?
Well, I
Because
mean,
I
at what
could
point
answer
was it
it differently.
harmful? And, how harmful are these frequencies that we're surrounded by on a daily basis?
Yeah. So, I mean, the answer is the EMFs, regardless of the source. Let's just talk about cell phones or computers or the routers, for example. Those are all impacting us, whether we feel it or not. They are not beneficial to us. This is one of the things why people say, well, I mean, what, like, if I'm not feeling it, is it actually hurting me? I mean, that's the answer is, of course, yes. But just because we're not feeling something doesn't necessarily mean we're not being affected by it. Also, long term, absolutely. Everyone intuitively knows this. If you're spending 8+ hours a day in front of the computer, it is very hard on us. And, I think we've all probably been there at different times in our lives. And, it just doesn't feel good. It's hard for the body to be sustaining that sort of radiation for long periods of time. So, going back to the science and like what sort of science backs this, that EMFs are harmful, there's about 30,000 different studies showing that EMFs are damaging to biological life, all biological life, humans, animals, plants, etc. The question then just becomes, how long are we exposed? And then what is every individual's physiology actually doing in response to those EMFs? So some people, as you know, are very EMF sensitive. Some people are not. So it really just kind of depends how much a person can withstand. and what is being factored into that. Also, a person's overall lifestyle does, of course, play into this. What's their nutrition like? Are they getting a lot of nutrients? Are they getting sunlight? Are they earthing? What's happening in their life? Because all of those things definitely counteract a lot of the effects. But if those things aren't being included, then the EMFs can become quite damaging pretty fast. So that's the long-winded answer to that there is an abundant amount of science showing this. The industry is really way behind and actively tries to cover up a lot of this stuff because financially, but also more malevolent reasons. So it's just it's a long, very windy and deep topic that mainstream really has no interest in talking about, and they haven't talked about it. So it really does come down to the individual to research and inform themselves. One book that I would really suggest to people is it's called EMF'd by Dr. McCullough. It's a fantastic book, and he laid it all out there. He put a lot of good stuff in there, and it really is waking people up. So this product that Noah is showing is the cell phone protection disc. And yeah, Chris, you've got it right there. You put this on your cell phone, and what happens is it's not blocking the EMFs. It's actually exuding beneficial frequencies that we program into it off of the disc, and our DNA actually picks up on that, because we know that DNA acts as an antenna to different electromagnetic fields, both beneficial EMFs like red light therapy and non-beneficial like cell phone radiation. So the issue becomes, what sort of radiation are we surrounding ourselves with, and for how long, and how is our DNA going to respond to that? So the cell phones, what we're doing is we're actually programming in different frequencies to these discs where it's counteracting the effects of the EMFs within the cells. So Noah was showing a video that we have. It's a red blood cell microscopy video, where what's happening is we're showing red and white blood cells exposed to cell phone radiation. And then we do a follow-up showing what happens when we place the disc on the phone exposed to those same cells. And radiation, what it does is it makes the cells lose their negative electrical charge. And so they lose the ability to carry oxygen. And so when we have lower levels of oxygen, every cellular process in the body slows down and does not work the way that it should. And if we have this sort of exposure over months or years, of course, then it can lead to a lot of different things. That's a whole nother topic, but basically what we're doing is, and what this video shows, is the red blood cells then gain back their negative electrical charge, and they can actually start carrying oxygen. They can detox well. They can bring in nutrients into the cells. The cells start working the way that they should.
That's really awesome. Did you have something to add there, Noah?
No.
Okay, I wanted to ask, I'm always fascinated about the science behind it and how these things are actually made. When you told me the first time, I was like, really? Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're looking at different compounds in nature. I'll just take curcumin, for example, which is a compound found in turmeric. And we look at the molecular structure of that compound, and we can calculate a frequency that will be coming off of that compound just using basic geometry and mathematics. And what we then do is we take that frequency and we program them in through longitudinal scalar waves, which was a discovery that Tesla made. And we really just get those frequencies into the discs. And then again, when the discs are around our DNA, the DNA is literally picking up on those frequencies that are being exuded off. And then our cells have a literal physiological change because the DNA is being told, hey, do this action, do that action. So it is energy wellness in some very incredible ways. You know, some people, the consciousness is raising for sure. Mainstream people would maybe look at this. If they looked at it just from the surface level, they wouldn't believe it. But if you really actually dive in and do the time and research to look at this, it is real. Like before I really started taking this technology and getting it out there, I spent a lot of time looking at this from a lot of different angles and being 100% for sure that I could stand behind this, because I don't want to stand behind something that's like, you know, maybe real, maybe not. Like it has to be either yes or no. So, you know, when it got to that point is when I went all in on this and really, you know, got this technology out there with the help of the scientists that I'm working with.
And these discs, they don't only go on your cell phones, they can go on your computers themselves and on your routers and tablets, right?
Correct. Yep. All of those devices. Those are the most common ones. You can put them on smart meters or any other smart device like the Alexas. Some people will put them in their cars as well, because, you know, most cars that are newer have a very high levels of EMFs due to, you know, the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth. You know, all those functions are awesome and they're, you know, very beneficial for us in those cars, but they are emitting EMFs for sure.
And you guys also offer these cool bracelets, not only for protection, but they look cool too. I like the design on these. Now, are these offer the same protection as the strips? Is it a little different, made from different materials?
Different. They will help in a small way. Like if someone buys a disc, it is beneficial to have one on your wrist because you're using your phone. You have your phone in your hand often. But it is more so just for overall physiological health and wellness and specifically for energy. That's kind of how we market them and brand them. But yes, they do help with EMFs. But if someone's really wanting to protect themselves, like from their phone, you want to look at the disc for sure. And then you can, of course, add on the wristband, you know, if you would like.
Yeah. And I think products like these are really important right now because, you know, we have the 5G and who knows where they're going to go next, you know, 6G and how harmful is this stuff going to be? And we, of course, know all the conspiracy theories about what could be possibly going on with some of these frequencies right now. You know, who knows what'll be happening in the future. So, you know, I'm really glad that you guys created products like this and offer this so people can kind of get ahead of this.
Definitely. I don't want to say certain words, but with certain injections that
Right.
may take place, the EMF thing is laced in there in a lot of different ways, not literally with the injections, but in direct and indirect ways. And yeah, the EMF issue, it is just becoming more prevalent and more people are learning about it. But you know, the mainstream doesn't make it easy to talk about this.
They sure don't. You know, that's why I'm glad we have other platforms that I can kind of talk about some more controversial stuff that isn't allowed on platforms like YouTube anymore, but it's definitely worth being addressed. And I think that its product like these are going to become really important for people in the future.
Right.
Now, is there anything else that we should add before we close out tonight about either Ascent or EMF Harmonized?
With EMF, you know, we've also, the last thing is the body relief patches. We've taken the technology and applied it in a way where we promote healthy inflammatory response. And these like really help people. It's honestly mind blowing to even me. Some of the testimonies we get from people. We did one study where it was about 85% of people actually felt the benefits from it. So it's, of course, not everyone feels it, but many people do.
Now, for the body relief patch, is this made from similar materials as the patches or discs?
Same concept. It's different material in that, you know, they'll stick onto you, and they're just meant to stay on for a couple days. Whereas like the cell phone disc or strips, those are meant to stay on, you know, for years. But these patches, they're specific for, you know, a few days. And what we're doing is we're just programming in different frequencies that are specific for promoting that healthy inflammatory response. So that's why you see it shifting from red to green, because there is an actual physiological difference taking place.
Yeah, that is really cool. Well, Lance
Yeah.
and Noah, thank you both for stopping by today. Excellent information. And like I said, guys, go check out these products. All the links are in the description for ascentnutrition.com and EMF Harmonize. Just click on there and pick up some of these awesome products and take back your health and protect yourself from some of these frequencies. And guys, thank you so much for coming on. And of course, I'd love to talk to y'all again in the future.
Thanks, Chris. This was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Every time. All right, guys. Well, take it easy. And until next time, have an excellent evening, everyone.